You have designed nutrition plan for Varun Dhawan's daughter, Rohit Sharma's kids. So tell me, celebrity parents के भी similar struggle होते हैं हमारी तरह when it comes to kids' food?
We spend so much time and money on our kids' birthday parties, on which school they're going to go to. But when it comes to what they're putting in their mouth, we don't want to spend that little extra.
This is not just another kids nutrition podcast. Joining us today is Sanchita Daswani, a leading baby and toddler nutrition consultant who has guided some of India's most elite families, including celebrity parents. How can we read food labels?
You pick up something from the supermarket, I want you to turn it to the back. Now, first you go to the ingredient section.
Do we need to use a different oil for cooking and a different oil for frying?
For like low heat, you can use like olive oil and sesame oil.
Can you suggest some foods for brain?
Fish, egg, leafy greens, walnuts, flax seeds.
How do we ensure that cheese we are buying is good quality?
Don't buy sliced cheese.
Why is
buy
that?
the block. Because
Are there any age-wise multivitamins or supplements you can recommend?
I don't believe in multivitamins because
Hello everyone, I am Zahra Jani and welcome to Zahra Jani Show. यहाँ बातें सिंपल है बट सोचने वाली. So grab your favorite snacks, चाय और कॉफी and let's start the बातचीत. अगर पसंद आए तो spread the word, like, share, subscribe. Hey Sanchita, welcome to the podcast.
thank you so much.
I am super excited because we have a celebrity child nutritionist in the house. To name a few of your high-profile clients, you have designed nutrition plan for Varun Dhawan's daughter, Rohit Sharma's kids. So tell me, celebrity parents के भी similar struggle होते हैं हमारी तरह when it comes to kids' food?
Yeah, it's so interesting because end of the day, for even celebrities, they're parents for the first time. So they go through the same exact struggles, long nights, waking up, kids throwing food, not loving certain things. And it's so interesting to see that no matter who you are, you all go through the same thing. So even as celebrity parents, it's also so nice to see how everyone just wants to do things differently. They want to do things a modern way. They don't want to just do things with outdated information. They want to challenge norms. So every parent goes through the same struggles, but it's nice to see everyone really trying to do things differently.
I guess because of the awareness now, every parent is making that extra effort to give the best to their child.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, it's so overwhelming today, right? Being a parent, we're so lucky we have all these resources, but at the same time, who to listen to, who to follow. And that's exactly why I do what I do, because I want to help parents just filter out all that noise.
Absolutely. You said overwhelming. And one thing which is overwhelming is buying groceries, especially the category of kids snacks. आप अगर online भी shopping कर रहे हैं या अगर आप supermarket गए हैं, everything is so tempting and equally confusing. So let's start with a question that every parent Googles, which is which snacks to buy for kids and which ones to avoid.
Okay, so there's two things I want to say. The first thing is when you go to the supermarket, two things you want to look for. First is fresh produce, so your fruits and veggies. And the second thing is single ingredient packages. Because the reality is when we're going to a supermarket, there will be packaged foods. But look for single ingredient, like your oats, your rice, your millet flours. So you have your fresh produce, single packet ingredients, and when single ingredient packets. And when you're looking at snacks, look at fiber and protein. Okay. So I'm going to give you examples. So you are at the supermarket. I want you to pick up some fruits, some veggies. Okay. That's for fiber. Then you can get your whole grains. So you can get like sourdough bread. You can get oats. You can get your millets. Okay. And then you can get some nuts and seeds. Then protein. You can pick up egg. You can pick up any dairy, so your yogurt, cheese, milk as well. If your kids are non-veg, you can get meat also. And then, of course, again, nuts and seeds. So how do you combine this? I think also for us parents, we try to make snacks so complicated. I think it's also because of Instagram. We're like, oh my God, these moms are making such fancy meals. Honestly, even if you just do your fruit and you add some nut butter to it. You take a sourdough bread with some egg and give your child that. Or you can take some oats, mashed banana, literally bake it, give them a oat flapjack. So you can keep it very simple as long as there's some fiber and some protein, and you don't have to spend a lot either.
Got it. And which are the ones we should avoid?
Okay, so you know that section that you go and you see all those commercial chips and the biscuits, which so many of us have grown up eating. And a lot of our kids eat it as well still. It's better to avoid that as much as we can. I really do believe that in this 80-20 rule, we do it for adults. I believe in for kids as well, because the reality is we don't live in a world where we go out and there's no sugar.
Absolutely.
You will take your kids to the supermarket. They will see it. So once in a while, if they want, it's okay. But try and avoid it as much as you can.
Fair enough. You know, Sanchita, what I truly appreciate about you is you are very vocal about mentioning brands, whether it's in your videos or whenever we have had a one-on-one conversation. For example, you will share for dairy, you can have XYZ brands, or for cooking oil, you can avoid XYZ brands. So I'm going to take this one step further. Share with us top 3 kids' food brands that parents can use.
So I want to mention a few brands. So the first one I want to mention is, and what I love about these brands, side note, is that they're actually started by moms.
Yeah.
So because they're started by moms, you know they care. And they actually even show like the factories, how it's being made. Because I think another concern in India is also the factory conditions and how the cleanliness. So first one is Little Cherry Mom. I love that brand. There's no fancy packaging, nothing like that. It's literally like their ghee, their nut powder. They have millet noodles. They have a chawanprash for kids also, which they can start from 2. So, and a lot of like amla, all of these superfoods for kids. Great brand, very clean, very simple, nutritious stuff. Then I really like Early Foods as well. So I like that brand because they have like cookies. Because as we discussed, you know, our kids still want to eat the cookies and chips, even we do. So they have cookies that are made with millet flour. They also have laddus. So it's like a good snack for even the mom and the kid. So that's a great brand. And I have to say also Little Fingers is another brand as well. So I really like their cookies as well. And they've also come out with these puffs and these chips, so that at least you're satisfying the craving, but at least the nutrition is going in as well. And I know you said 3, but I have to mention 2 more.
Absolutely.
Just on the side.
Go ahead.
So I love Gub Gub. So they are a brand that's come out because, you know, kids go through phases where they don't want fruits, they don't want veggies and all of that. So Gub Gub has fruit roll-ups. So they're actually presenting fruit in another way to make it more exciting for kids and also on the go. And I think those are the good brands.
Now let's make this fun. For example, I have around 500 rupees to 1,000 rupees for my kids' snack. What should my shopping cart look like?
Okay. So you go to a supermarket, I would say pick up some fruit or veggies. Okay. Then I want you to get, just pick up some like rice, like the murmuras. You can pick up that. You can pick up some bread. You can pick up some coconut milk and some peanut butter. That's it. Okay. Then you come home and this is what you're going to make. So one thing you can do is honestly, you can even just give your child a fruit or veg. That's enough as a snack. Okay. Then if you want to make it a bit more interesting, what you can do is take the rice murmuras, add some peanut butter. Okay. Add some mashed banana, mash it together and make it into a little like bar. And then you put it in the fridge. And then what do you have? Rice Krispies.
Got it. So instead of buying, you make it just 3 ingredients.
That's it. You just do that. And then another thing, you can also take coconut milk, take any fruit, blend it together. You can add a bit of honey or date syrup if you want and make popsicles. That's it.
Wow.
So it's actually only 3 or 4 ingredients you need. And my kids love it as well. Or you can even get like ragi flour and add that in the popsicle. So you can do coconut milk, ragi flour, banana, and just mash it and make a popsicle. Because kids like variety and fun and different things. So you can do smoothies, you can do popsicles. You can just change the same ingredients, but change it around to see what your child is receptive towards.
That's amazing. Like, I really like the fact that you said, take ingredients and actually make the snacks rather than going and selecting snacks and packaged foods. But we are living in today's fast-paced life. And like you said, we cannot avoid packaged food. So there's this one more important question, I guess we all parents need an answer to, which is, when can we start giving packaged foods to kids?
That's a very good question. So, see, when it comes to packaged foods, there's also many categories. So, see, when you start solids, what my clients do is first they start with fruits and veggies. Okay. But then after a few weeks, then what? So obviously we want to start giving some nuts, some seeds, some dal, some rice, some oats. So again, I spoke about this earlier. Single ingredient packaged foods, you can actually start earlier. So by 6.5 months, it's okay to start giving foods from the packet, but as long as it's just one ingredient, like your moong dal, your cashews, those single ingredients. And then the actual packaged food. So, I mean, there's other things like pasta and all of that, bread. It's also okay to give your kids. So from like 9 months, my clients will start having pasta because these are staples in the house. The issue comes when you're giving packaged foods that have 10 ingredients, 12 ingredients. Those are the things, some preservatives, some oils, all these things are being added, extra sugar, extra salt. And this is what affects the body, for the worse. So don't stress too much because where else are you going to get these foods from? But try and limit the packaged foods which have a lot of ingredients as much as you can till your child figures it out or till you are like, okay, I'm done, So it's okay. It's okay to have that balance and it's okay to offer some packaged food even in the beginning.
So I guess it's all about convenience also as parents, as a family, what works for you. But जितना हो सके उतना अवॉइड करना चाहिए जब तक हो सके उतना अवॉइड करना चाहिए let's put it that way. Now you said about ingredients, which leads me to a question. How can we read food labels and know that the product is good or bad?
Okay, so it's a little bit complex. I'm going to try and make it simple. Okay, so let's do it part by part. You pick up something from the supermarket. I want you to turn it to the back. Now first you go to the ingredient section. If there is more than 10 ingredients, put it back. Okay? Because more ingredients, there's just too much happening. Number 2, there are certain things you should not see in the ingredient list. Okay? So number 1, I don't want to see any artificial sweeteners. Okay. So aspartame, sucralose, stevia, all of these things because they're really bad for the gut. So no artificial sweeteners. Number 2, I do not want to see any numbers. You see E124, INS 456. These are all emulsifiers and preservatives that are added. You'll see it a lot in dairy products as well to keep it the shape that it's in. So I don't want to see numbers. I don't want to see artificial sweeteners. I don't want to see anything saying natural flavoring. What is natural flavoring? It's man-made ingredients that are added in and they're calling it natural. Okay. So these are very important to not see. And just when you read the ingredients, make sure you understand what is there. If there's 1 or 2 words, you're like, what is that? It's probably not a good idea. Okay. Then you go up, to that little bar.
Yeah.
And then you're going to look there. Number 1, you look at sugar and salt. So sugar, go to added sugar. I should not see more than 4 grams of added sugar per serving. And one of the biggest things I've seen moms do is they buy these pancake mixes that say no sugar. But when you go to the added sugar, it's still 20 grams per serving. Wow. And it's because the jaggery is there. The coconut sugar is there. It's still processed as sugar. So guys, please look at less than 4 grams per serving. That's okay because reality is there will be a little bit. Sodium. So many times there's no sugar, but they add a lot of salt in these chips. So sodium, less than 150 mg per serving. I mean, I have to be a bit technical with these numbers.
No, it helps.
Yeah.
Please,
and then carbs. You know how many kids' snacks are just carbs, empty carbs. So we're like, oh, wow, I can read the ingredients. It's all clean, but it's only carbs. Literally just rice flour, and that's it. So I'd say max 15 grams per serving. Okay. And then make sure there's a bit of protein, at least 2 to 4 grams, so that at least you know that. And then the last trick I'll give you is a lot of these snacks are empty calories. So how do you know that they're going to stay full by eating these snacks? I want you to take the carbs. So suppose it says 15 grams of carbs. I want you to divide it by 5. Then you will get 3. That should be how much fiber there is in the packet, because then the fiber is slowing down the digestion of the carbs, and your kid is not going to have that blood sugar spike in that way. So yeah, you guys might need to write this down, but trust me, I use this and it really cuts out a lot of the snack.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Is it a bit more clear now for you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Now we're talking about packaged food, but packaged food आप फिर भी avoid कर सकते हो, or you can go for cleaner products, or you can read the label. But there's something called as food adulteration. अभी कितने कितने टाइप के कहाँ कहाँ कैसे कैसे food adulteration हो रहे, it's beyond our imagination. In fact, I have some stats here. 57% of people worldwide have experienced health issues due to consuming adulterated food. How we as parents can ensure the basics which we are buying are safe and clean. Is there a checklist for parents which they can go through when they're buying their regular ration?
Yeah, so the first thing is, living in India, you guys are very lucky in the sense that you have seasons and you have a lot of food being grown in India. So a lot of places, like even Hong Kong, a lot of stuff is not being grown. So we have to use imported. So the first thing I'd say is try and get whatever's seasonal. Because if you know it's seasonal, you know it's coming fresh. Because for example, now, if you go and you see a mango, most likely you don't know where it's coming from, right? Because it's not in season. So try and stick to whatever's seasonal, the seasonal fruits and veggies. Number 2, try and buy local. Okay, because see, end of the day, we might think, oh, okay, we're getting our fruit from the UK or we're getting it from the US, so it'll be good, right? But the reality is, in order for it to come from the UK or the US, it has to be sprayed with something. There's no way that it's going to survive. So get local if you can. Also look at the fruit or veggie. How does it look? You will know if this orange is a regular orange or not by the appearance. And also if you see something very shiny, then you know that there's some coating being added to it. And everything else you buy, whether it's your dal, your dairy, all of that, try and not buy it from the commercial brands. Try and buy from smaller homegrown brands, because these commercial ones, they're mass production. They don't care as much about the quality of it. So try and buy from the smaller brands. And in India, there's multiple of them. And, a lot of people say, oh, but I have to spend more. Yeah. Because it is a bit more expensive. But I always like to tell parents, we spend so much time and money on our kids' birthday parties, on which school they're going to go to, the classes. But when it comes to what they're putting in their mouth, when it comes to something we're eating 3-4 times a day, we don't want to spend that little extra. And I feel that, and even now we can speak as adults, food is everything. We are struggling so much as adults. And if we just have better quality food, we can see the big difference.
You said that try not buying from the commercial brands, but smaller brands. By smaller brands, do you mean organic, unpolished? Need a little bit of clarity there.
Yeah. So organic also is this whole question. It doesn't have to be fully like organic. Like I think it's still a lot of controversy around it, whether things are really organic. I think also in India, there's like a whole really big process to get that organic certification. So my point is, you don't have to worry about organic, but I would say naturally sourced or something else that is mentioned. Or like even if you go, you can buy loose pulses.
Got it.
Those are better in that way. Yeah.
Okay, taking this one step further, हमने groceries buy कर ली. Are there any 3-4 steps we can do at home before we actually consume our regular groceries?
Yeah. So for fruits and veggies, this is a hack you can do. So whether it's organic or not, you should still do this. So if you're buying locally, you take it home, you take a big bowl of water and you put the fruit and veggies in it. Then what you're going to do is add a teaspoon of baking soda.
Okay.
And you keep it there for 15 minutes. Studies show this reduces 80% of the chemicals and pesticides.
Wow.
So especially like, your strawberries, your berries, put it in there and just keep it for 15 minutes and rinse it, and it is going to be super clean. So you don't need to, because a lot of times when you buy local stuff, it's a bit dirty. So that way it really cleans it. You don't need to use those sprays and all, because those are actually worse. Okay. Then the second thing I recommend is, for dals, your lentils and your beans. So, a lot of times they're very gassy. So they have a lot of anti-nutrients outside in the outer layer. So what you do is you soak it in warm water with a bit of lemon or apple cider vinegar for like 6 to 8 hours. This is going to make it easier to actually digest. So this is important for kids and even adults. And then the third thing is like if you have nuts and seeds, what you can do is soak it in a bit of salt. So also nuts and seeds have anti-nutrients in the outer layer. So soaking it with a bit of salt and then rinsing it the next day and roasting it actually makes the nutrients more bioavailable.
Wow, very interesting. I
Yeah.
knew the baking soda hack, but the
Yeah, I
other
didn't know
two
that.
I
Yeah.
didn't know. So that's
Yeah.
something which I'm definitely going to try. Tell me, Sanchita, as a nutritionist, which are the 5 foods that are completely banned in your kitchen?
Yes. Okay. So the first thing I would say is artificial sweeteners.
Okay.
Okay. So unfortunately, a lot of brands are coming out and trying to trick parents. No sugar. And they're using these artificial sweeteners. But actually, these artificial sweeteners trick the brain to crave more sugar. And actually, they're very damaging for the gut. So anytime you see something that says no sugar, don't fall for it. So no artificial sweeteners. Number 2, I would say no seed oils. So in a lot of houses, we use vegetable oils, like canola oil, sunflower oil. Now, these oils, when they are made, they go through bleaching. Chemicals are added. Because can you imagine, like from corn, how to get oil from corn? The process that needs to happen already makes the oil very toxic. Then you heat it again. Then you eat it. So this is creating an inflammation response in your body. So stick to your ghee, butter, coconut, avocado, so many better options we have available. So no artificial sweeteners, no seed oils. The third thing is I'd say no sodas. Yeah. Your Coke, your ginger ale, all of these things. It's just pure sugar. I think I don't need to go on about that. We know that. The fourth thing I'd say is processed dairy. So this is a big one. If you look at cheese, you look at some yogurt, sometimes it says processed. So half of these times, this dairy is not even actual dairy. There's so much other stuff added in it and so much processing that it actually is not good for us at all. So, because there's a lot of controversy over dairy, and we can talk about this later as well, but I get why the controversy is there because there's so many dairy products out there that are not actually even yogurt and cheese. Like it's not even coming from milk, the amount of stuff that's done to it. So your big commercial brands for dairy, I would avoid that. And then the last one I would say would be like instant noodles because too much sodium. There's a lot of them have MSG in it as well. They all use the seed oils in it as well. And it's just like so processed and it's just refined flour. So I'd say those.
Got it. Let's talk about dairy because I guess that's a topic which is again very debatable and very confusing. And we parents need an answer to this question. Do kids really need milk and dairy products?
Okay, so this is a question. So I have twins and now they're 7. They're going to be 7. And I had the same dilemma. So when I had my kids, I was giving them breast milk, then formula, then they turned 1. So everyone was like, okay, now move to cow's milk. And I'm actually vegetarian, more for animal rights, not for the other reasons, because I actually know the nutrition it can provide. But at that time, I was like, I don't want to give cow's milk. In Hong Kong, where am I going to find good cow's milk? So I actually switched to oat milk. And I actually was trying to do soy milk. And I noticed with like oat milk, my son would get very hyper.
Okay.
And then with soy milk also, there's so many, like these plant-based milks have a lot of preservatives and emulsifiers. So I noticed my kids were acting very, like a lot of tantrums and you know when something is off.
Absolutely.
So then I started looking in a bit more that is it worth avoiding dairy and doing all of these things? But the reality is, why are we even giving dairy? Okay, because our kids are growing a lot in the first 5 years. This is when the major growth happens. What do they need? They need calcium, they need protein, they need B12, they need good fats. And guess what? Where do you get all of this? You get it from dairy. So a lot of parents say, or a lot of doctors will say, no need for cow's milk.
Yeah.
I actually feel you don't have to do cow's milk, but then you need to do some dairy products. The point is all these dairy products provide what growing children actually need. So your full fat cow's milk, your cheese, this is what's giving the fat, the protein, all the good stuff. So I actually do feel dairy is very important for kids, for growing kids. You can see the difference. And luckily, kids love their yogurt. They love their cheese. So it also makes it easier for us. Of course, we need to try and find good quality dairy.
That's what my next question was. You mentioned most of the cheese or the yogurt we get, it has processed written on it. How do we ensure that the yogurt, milk products, cheese we are buying is good quality?
Yeah, so actually, I've been to a few supermarkets here. Like, I walked into Nature's Basket and I'm like, let me take a look. Like, is it actually available or is it something I have to go order online specially? Honestly, when it comes to dairy, you have options. So the few things you need to look out for is number one, as I mentioned earlier, full fat. Okay, because kids need the full fat. Number two, it should say pasteurized because we want to be sure that it's safe, that the bacteria has been killed. Number three, I would say, is when you look at the back, make sure those numbers aren't there, the INS and all of that. That happens a lot. And make sure there's no added sugar as well. And if it says organic or grass-fed, that would be better because then they're not being injected with the hormones. And honestly, you can find decent ones. There are quite a few brands, like I saw Collier, Sarda Farms, Provilac, White Farms, Humpy Farms. So see, end of the day, we don't know 100% how clean it is, but at least we know that it's much better than the commercial ones out there. And when you're buying cheese, another tip, don't buy sliced cheese, don't buy string cheese, don't buy grated cheese. Buy the block. Because the block ones will have the least ingredients. Because to get cheese into that sliced version, to get cheese into that grated version, they have to process it. It has to go through a lot. So that's when all the extra things get added.
See, now when we are talking about healthier swaps, as parents, we are still okay making the transition, but it's very tricky for kids to switch from those potato chips to a healthier option, or maybe telling them to stop consuming ketchup. So tell me how we can realistically transition kids from junk to healthier swaps without the tantrums.
Okay. So few things. First, I want to say is start early. So obviously, if your kids are older, this doesn't apply. But if you have younger kids, if you introduce them to these things from an early age, like you introduce them to ragi and these different millet flours and nuts and seeds, then when they're 3, 4 and you give them a ragi cookie, they might not love it, but at least they're willing to try it. Compared to a kid that's never had ragi and you're like, here, now please eat this ragi cookie. They're going to be like, no, thank you. I'm going back to what I'm used to. So start early. Number 2, limit it as much as you can in the house because they see what we are eating. They also monitor. We cannot control what happens outside, but whatever you can control inside, do that. Number 3, I feel this is really important. I believe in education over elimination.
Absolutely.
Okay, so see, obviously, like I know we've spoken about, your daughter as well. And even for my kids, you tell them don't eat that biscuit. They're going to be like, I'm going to do what I want. So what I started doing with my kids is I started educating them. So for example, I tell them, I'm like, oh, that ice cream you're eating, I just saw this video. Let's look at what is in it. And I started showing them, look, this is the ingredients. This is what they're putting. This is what they don't listen to me, even though I'm a nutritionist. They listen to other people. So I'm like, look at what this doctor is saying as well. And you know what? They might still eat the ice cream, but then it starts playing in their psyche, playing in their head, and they also start realizing how they feel. So like my daughter be like, oh, my stomach is hurting after eating this cake. I was like, it's okay. Maybe it was just a bit too much sugar. So instead of being like, do this, do that, start being vocal about what it is. Like now my son, when he sees a packet, he look in the back and say, let me see how much protein there is.
That's amazing.
Right? But that's because since he was like 3, I was like, protein. Like, even my friend's son calls me protein masi because whole day I'm like protein. But somehow something sticks. So educate them. The next thing is manage expectations. Okay, because we will say, don't eat this, don't eat that, it's not good for you. And they're not going to do it. So just be a little realistic. We don't live in a world where there's no sugar. So like that day I took my daughter to a birthday party and I got the pizza for her. I was like, I know she's going to have this. She's like, no, mama, I want fried rice. And I'm like, are you sure? You're at a birthday party, eat your pizza, enjoy your life. She's like, no, I want fried rice. And for me, it wasn't that, oh, she chose the fried rice, but it was the fact that she's able to listen to her body and make that decision. And after that, she went and had a cake pop. But I'd rather have that than be like, don't do this, don't do that. I want them to be able to figure it out for themselves. And so manage expectations that it's going to take time. And the last thing I want to say is don't use these sweets and these sugar things as reward, because it then places it on a pedestal. So I think like a lot of parents say, oh, you do this and then we'll give you a lollipop. So just take off that your importance over it.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. I guess the moment you, like you said, educate children and give them the power, they are so smart. And they'll surprise you every time. They really take informed decisions.
Yeah.
I guess that's the way to go.
Yeah.
So here we are talking about healthy swaps, etc. But you know what's funny? Do you think all these chips, biscuits, sodas, they are marketed so aggressively and in a beautiful way? They'll have a shiny counter, bright colors, whereas our fruits and vegetables are like in one corner. Why is that happening?
That's happening because of human behavior and human nature. So we get attracted to all these colors. We get attracted to seeing the celebrities on it. And for these big companies, it's cheaper. The ingredients they use are factory, right? Factory made ingredients. It's cheaper for them to market, and they are marketing to the masses. So they want a product that has that price point that everyone's going to pick up. They want to get that celebrity that'll be like, oh, have this, and they can sell millions of it, compared to, you know, a celebrity holding like a beetroot and saying, this is what we need. I mean, who's paying for that beetroot, right? So it's just this whole big marketing strategy that all these companies have, and it works. I also fall for it. I'm like, oh, okay. And actually, unfortunately, even a lot of these baby brands and all that have come out, some of them also are using celebrities, and they are marketing and saying no sugar and no added sugar, and people are falling for it because they know that parents don't have the time to sit and do all that research. So whatever they say is what it is. So it's unfortunate, but I've given you tips on how to now read the labels.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do one thing. Can you mention healthier swaps for the following? Healthier swaps for instant noodles.
Rice noodles or even millet noodles. So a lot of kids who might not like millet noodles, you can do rice noodles because it tastes quite good.
Okay. Instead of biscuits, what can we give to our kids?
Okay. So obviously they want something sweet. So then you can make homemade oat cookies, homemade ragi cookies. You can even do like a fruit with nut butter as well. Or you can do energy balls as well.
Interesting. Chips के बदले बच्चों को क्या दे सकते हैं?
See, when they want chips, they want something salty and crunchy. So you can do whole wheat kakras. You can do rice murmuras or millet murmuras so that they can munch on it, or makanas, which a lot of kids love.
And are there any healthier swaps for candies?
So for candies, a good option is dried fruit. So for example, raisins, or, you know, like the dried figs or dried mangoes. See, they still have sugar in it. Okay, it will still spike their blood sugar, but at least all that extra stuff is not there.
And lastly, how can we replace ketchup, jams, and chocolate spreads?
See, we still want to have them. So it's just about getting a healthier alternative. So there's so many recipes now. Like you can literally, if anyone's watched Meghan Markle's show on Netflix, she's talking about that fruit compote that she does. She just literally just mashes the fruit, adds some honey or dates. So you can still offer that. Even for ketchup. So actually we have a book that came out. You were there for the book launch last year, Baby Knows Best. So in that we have a lot of homemade like Zanutella, like a Nutella that's healthier, or like ketchup that you can make at home. So there are so many alternatives you can make at home.
We just have to search for them and make that little extra effort to make at home.
Yeah, which I think is worth it.
Absolutely. We were talking about healthier swaps. Now that gets me to a question. हर एक पेरेंट का मिशन होता है कि मेरा बच्चा वेजिटेबल्स खा ले. Tell me how.
So the thing is, why we are so obsessed with vegetables is because most of the time our kids don't like it. And why? Because we put so much pressure on them. You have to eat these vegetables. So I give a very simple hack to parents. It's something called food play. Okay. So suppose, can you give me any fruit or veggie one of your kids doesn't like?
I guess broccoli is universal.
Correct. Okay. So what you do is take a broccoli. Okay. And you take your child to the supermarket and show them, here's a broccoli. That's it. End of the day, move on. Next day, you take that broccoli, and during playtime, not during mealtime, I want you to do an activity with them. Say, okay, let's paint with the broccoli. So you take the broccoli, dip it in paint, do that. Or say, let's make a forest and start doing that. So what are we doing? We are taking off the pressure and the thing that veggies are on a pedestal, and we're putting it down. And see, our kids won't put it in their mouth. But first step is get them to touch it, feel it, use their other senses so they get over that fear. Once your child starts touching it and doing other things, then that fear is gone. Then what I want you to do is the next day for about 10-15 days, put one piece of broccoli with their lunch. Just keep it there. So now the second step is they are accepting it at mealtime. Keep it there, and at mealtime, you tell them, hey, can you give me a bite? Can we kiss it? Can we break it? So now you're getting them to touch it at mealtime. So now they feel safe around it. Then you will see, I'm telling you, one day they will just take it and put it in their mouth.
And we expect that on the first day, but it's a process.
Yeah, we don't have patience anymore as parents. So that's the first thing I tell parents. And I have to remind myself as well that we need to be patient.
Got it. A while back, we were talking about oil and ghee. And food is not only what we cook, but it's also what we cook in. Oil versus ghee. What should we use for cooking our food?
Yeah, so in Indian households, mostly everyone just uses ghee, right? And that's great. It's really good. But what I have learned from my 5 years of doing this and from my degree as well is that variety is best.
Okay.
So ghee is great, but what if some meals you can do coconut oil, olive oil? Then at least your child is getting different nutrition. So, there's a lot of kids who don't eat the same thing every day, but making small changes like using a different oil will help them get more nutrition from that. So don't limit it. Make changes and offer at least 3-4 oils in rotation because they all have their own good fats, their different benefits. And in life, we don't want to overdo on anything. So ghee is great, but we don't want to overdo it either.
So keep switching.
Keep switching. Yeah.
And any Indian oil or ghee brands you'll recommend?
Yeah, there's so many. So Zama Organics has great oils. Prakritik has great oils. Organic Tattva, I said it correctly. They're also good. And also all of these brands that have dairy products, they also have their own ghee as well. So yeah, those are a few good ones.
That's amazing. Also tell me, do we need to use a different oil for cooking and a different oil for frying?
Yeah. Because the thing is, every oil has different smoke points. So the higher you heat them, some of them cannot handle that heat. So I'd say for like low heat, you can use like olive oil and sesame oil. And the rest of them are quite okay for high heat. So you can use like for frying ghee, you can use coconut oil, you can use groundnut oil. So you have avocado oil as well. So all of these are okay for high heat. But main thing is like olive oil and like sesame don't use in high heat.
So when you say high heat, we can deep fry them.
So yeah, high heat deep frying, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And low heat is the normal cooking.
Like saute, normal cooking.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming back to kids' nutrition, let's have a rapid fire. Okay. Can you suggest some foods for brain?
Okay. Fish, egg, leafy greens, walnuts, flax seeds.
Interesting. Foods for height and growth.
We need to focus on protein and calcium. So I would say dairy products, lentils, beans, and seeds.
Food for immunity.
So most of our immune system's in the gut. So I'd focus on that. So I would say probiotic foods. So your yogurt, rice kanji, fermented idli dosas. I would say fruits and veggies because they're high in fiber. And bone broth, veg broth as well. That's good for immunity because it has all the spices.
Next one. Puberty is equal to a lot of hormonal changes. What foods kids can eat during puberty phase?
So you really need to focus on high iron and high zinc foods because they're hormones, right? There's so much happening there. I keep thinking, I'm like, if I ate better during my puberty phase, I feel like it would have.
Did we even know that?
I know, we didn't know, right?
Puberty,
So I would say high iron foods, like if you're non-veg, then your good quality meats, your egg, your spinach, your beetroot, again, your lentils, beans, even roti, dal, sabzi, simple. For kids, it gives them all the minerals. You have to focus on the minerals at this point. Even zinc, your nuts and seeds. If your kids in the morning can have some pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, all these minerals will help balance out the hormones at that age.
Interesting. Another topic which I have in mind, deficiencies. We parents are really fearful about deficiencies because sort of we lack the knowledge. Tell me, which are some deficiencies in kids parents miss out on?
So in Indian kids, what's very big is low vitamin D. So see, vitamin D is very important for immunity, bone health, for your teeth, all of that. And the reality is, where do you get vitamin D from? You get it from sun, very little bit in milk and fish. So the reality is that you can't get enough. So vitamin D is one supplement I would recommend, and a lot of kids are low on that. A lot of kids, unfortunately, are low on iron because iron, again, if you're vegetarian, your body doesn't absorb it so well. It's not able to absorb all the iron from it. So iron is another one. And a big one I want to mention, which I've also been studying about recently, and it's kind of connecting the dots, is low zinc. So I'll tell you signs of low zinc.
Exactly.
If you have a child who is very, very picky, so is having sensory issues, like doesn't want to touch the food, doesn't want to, doesn't like the feeling in their mouth, they're spitting it out a lot. They only want white foods. There's a lot of kids that go through phases, they only want white rice, idli. So actually studies are showing, Western Price, which is a very famous organization, they have come out saying that kids who are extremely picky or having major sensory issues are probably low in zinc. So if you're noticing these signs, or like your child is fitting in one or two sizes smaller, or they're, cuts take days to heal, or they're falling sick a lot, this is low zinc. And the good thing is there's a lot of foods, egg, again, your seeds. So seeds keep coming up. I realize this is really important. So like what my clients do is they'll just make a mixed powder and add it in the breakfast, whether it's in your pancakes or your, chillas, they'll just add that in. So, oats, if you're non-veg, then the meats have zinc as well. So if you're noticing these signs, this is something very common that's coming up.
You also mentioned vitamin D and iron. What are the signs for that?
Okay. So iron would be never hungry, constantly tired, looking pale, cold hands and feet. And when you get bruised, when they fall, they get these black bruises and they take time to heal. These are some signs of low iron. And vitamin D, they will look quite like they'll complain about a lot of growing pains. Like, they're really struggling with that. Vitamin D is not as easy to monitor. Again, paleness, you will see that. Yeah.
Are there any age-wise multivitamins or supplements you can recommend? Of course, with disclaimer, but...
Yeah. So again, I do feel that... most kids should not need, but I feel the only ones they need sometimes is the vitamin D and iron. I'd rather you take a specific supplement than take a multivitamin. I don't believe in multivitamins because what is multivitamins doing? They're giving everything, but half the time the kids actually don't need it because honestly, if your child is eating some fruits and veggies, they're getting their vitamins. That's if they're not, then you give a multivitamin because it has vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin C. Honestly, one bite of orange gives your child enough vitamin C for the day. So you don't have to worry about that. I'd rather you focus on the specific deficiency, whether it's iron or vitamin D, and give that only.
Got it. So then it's very important to do regular blood work of your kids?
It's hard because obviously it's so painful and it's not fun. So in the first few years, the doctors are quite good at just seeing the signs and identifying. But another option, if you're really not sure, you can do a prick test. Don't do a blood test because the blood test is too invasive for the kids. But a prick test will check at least your iron levels because the hemoglobin. So that's like in the US, they do a prick test on the foot. So the kid doesn't even realize. So when I came here last time, I did a prick test for my kids on their finger and that it was still, they were making a scene, but it was still better. Now my kids are 7. Now I do a blood test every year.
Fair enough. Last couple of questions, Sanchita. Now see, junk food, we spoke about this. Junk food is not completely avoidable. We have our occasions, we have birthday parties, travels, etc. Are there any tips or tricks parents can follow before and after the child has eaten junk?
Okay. So for example, if my kids are going for a birthday party or so, I know they're going to enjoy their food, right? So what I always do is I make sure the rest of the meals that day are balanced and nutritious. So it's not like they're having a full day of eating junk. So monitor what they're having then. If they're going to eat any sugar, make sure they're doing it on a full stomach. Never do it on an empty tummy because when sugar goes in on an empty tummy, it will spike the blood sugar. But if they've eaten something, there's already something in the stomach. So when sugar comes in, it's not going to spike it as much. So make sure it's on a full stomach. Also, if they haven't eaten anything, you can do this hack of giving them some protein or fat before the sugar. So give them some nuts, some seeds, cheese, yogurt. So this protein and fat before will actually slow down the sugar spike, aka our kids being very hyper after that sugar. And after they're done, you tell them, now we need to burn off all the sugar. So and honestly, our kids are anyways active, so it's not an issue. Let's do 10 jumping jacks, or let's run around 3 times, because then the body will use that sugar and it won't actually stay in.
Fair enough. Now I'm going to pivot from the kids topic and just coming to the AI world, artificial intelligence. We have AI writing diet plans, counting calories. Do you think AI can truly replace a human nutritionist?
Yeah, that's a very good question. AI is great. I use AI as well, and I think it's very important. But what I feel that AI is missing, and with my experience with my clients, is that human emotion. Okay, because I realize with my clients, it's not what the baby does or what the child does. It's how you respond as a parent. So you can give your kids the best meals and you can use AI to get the best nutrition plan. But how they respond when they throw the food, when they don't want to eat, that is where parents really struggle. And that's where I really come in to just give them that reassurance. And I'm sure AI can give you that reassurance, but it's different hearing it from AI than hearing it from a mom and a professional. So I realized that it's really, my work is actually helping parents feel confident in this process, that there will be days. It's okay if it's not happening. This is how you can adjust it. So I feel that human connect is what's missing.
I exactly know what you mean, because I feel talking to a nutritionist, a professional, a doctor, it's more like therapy for us. Like, sort of, we are not looking for the solution. We are looking for someone to say, it's okay, just hang in there. So I guess that's the reason my last question is how we parents can help our kids have a better relationship with packaged foods. Because see, packaged foods aren't going anywhere. Right now, they are younger, maybe they are listening to you, but eventually they are going to go out. So I feel that relation and that education is very important, so that when they have to make choices on their own, when we are not setting the menu for them, they can make informed decisions.
So I'm going to say an answer that is a little bit different. And I want us to just think about, because even I was thinking about it today. But why do our kids want the packaged foods? So the thing is that we keep saying, okay, what to do, get it away, all of that. But there's always a root cause behind it. And I also feel like, why do I eat packaged foods? Because of the feeling I get with it. That dopamine hit, that, if I'm stressed, I'll be like, I want to eat a piece of cake, and that feeling I get with it. So I think our kids, it's the same thing. Maybe they are feeling this lack of connection, or maybe this feeling of this emotion they're feeling that they're not able to. And because we're just getting them to finish the plate, they're just like, let me eat this and then I'll just feel something. So I want parents to just, I don't know the exact answer, because even I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm also thinking that, is it because maybe that feeling they're getting, they're not getting somewhere else? And another thing, as a nutritionist, I can say that if your child is craving certain things like sugar and salt, it could be a deficiency as well, right? It could be also maybe their gut health is struggling. There's too much bad bacteria, so they're craving the sugar. Or there's some other like zinc deficiency or so that's making them crave these things. So I look at connection and underlying nutritional deficiencies.
I understand what you mean. Maybe, like how they associate going to a birthday party and eating pizza or cake. That's sort of like that enjoyment party feeling. You've also put me in a thought, like what's the answer to it? But I guess the best thing is to have a conversation, like you said at the start of the podcast. Sit down with your kids, have a conversation, tell them that, this particular thing has XYZ. And I feel taking treat as treat is very important, and not sort of just because it is made in ragi and then we are avoiding the whole sugar content and all of that. So I guess taking treat as treat is very important, and rest hoping
Yeah.
for the best.
Yeah, I think the main thing I just want to say is do your best, and just it's okay to have that balance. It's okay if your kids are enjoying things. You don't have to be so strict. I think we put a lot of pressure, but I think we ourselves as parents are going through our own food journey. So we have to be kind to ourselves and just start making those small changes, as simple as adding nuts and seeds in the morning, changing the oils, doing the best you can at home.
Got it. Beautiful, Sanchita. It's been such a lovely conversation. You have given practical tips for a topic that is kids nutrition, which is getting so fearful and confusing by the day. So I really appreciate that. And thank you for taking out time and being on our podcast.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time and effort you put in the podcast and your questions. And I feel it was a great conversation.
Thank you so much.